Done getting your shit together up there? Because I'm starting to get bored.
What did you just say to me, you heartless little shit?
I said I'm bored. You're boring me.
And that is an accurate representation of how this build feels against Fatalis. In fact, it's an accurate representation of how this build feels against every monster in the game. Behold! The perfected, immortal build! And it is just glorious. Oh yes, this has always been one of my deepest passion projects. Can you craft the right set of armor and skills in tandem that will leave you completely unkillable to the monsters while literally AFK? And while that lofty goal was achieved already in Iceborne, that doesn't mean it can't be improved and improved and improved. And now, thanks to Fatalis' armor and its ridiculous amount of slots, it has reached the perfect point where not only do you have every defensive skill in the game imaginable, you also have lots of room to take it even further. Now, of course, the ground rules of this always have been, in order to be truly immortal, you have to be immortal while AFK. You can't be maintaining buffs, you can't be doing hunting horn songs or having buff items, you can't be relying on other people. You have to just stand there, walk away from your controller, and let Hunter and Cat just get beaten on and laugh it off with no help. And indeed, that is still the objective today. The bad news, however, and there is some, is that even with the most potent version of AFK immortality possible in Iceborne, you still can't really handle Fatalis. You can hop in the hunt and be like,
Okay, seriously, this is ridiculous. I have fire breaths and I can fly, but I'm not allowed to hit the thing on the wing break. This is absolutely, he is literally mocking me right now. This is ridiculous.
And then you drop down, and admittedly, this build does survive AFK against Fatalis for a good 2 minutes or so before eventually giving up, which I think is quite impressive given that, you know, he's just full of an arsenal of 1- and 2-shot attacks, but it is a little bit of a shame. Now, don't get me wrong, every other monster in the game is completely fine. You can be AFK against the previous Black Dragon all day, his ice waves just dink, 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 dink. It is laughable. Obviously going down to a bit lower tier, the usual reliable testing dummy in Gigante. This one is just, I mean, just look at the health bar. It's not even like this is close. He has absolutely no chance. He could be doing this for the quest timer and then some, and it's just brilliant. You are absolutely unkillable in the truest of sense. And then you can find the right piece of barrel, which, of course, everybody knows terrifies Gigantes, and they run away. So, without further ado then, as I realise there has been quite a lot of ado so far, what actually is the build? Well, behold! So, the bottom line is 4 pieces of Fatalis and 1 piece of Black Veil Valhazak. You have to have Super Recovery, the Valhazak 2 set, so you constantly trickle up health, and you get that via using a Safijiva weapon, and a Safijiva weapon is also how you get the highest defense from a weapon, with a defense Safi augment, actual defense augments, and that's all well and good, makes sense, and is as we are used to. And as all we care about is maximum slot efficiency, not really the skills on the base armor, we just choose the Valhazak piece that is the best, and then whack in Fatalis in every other slot. And in this case, it is the gloves, and they do give a bit of recovery, which is actually what we want in the set, so this works out lovely. And by lovely, I mean behold. Oh yes, so the main difference here then that Fatalis allows for is twofold. Number one, we can finally get Heroics level 7 in an Immortal build, and this is fantastic because it means sub 35% health, we gain an extra 150 defense, which means if we ever get tickled down to low enough, then we suddenly become that much harder to kill. And really, Heroics is the one arguably defensive measure that we were missing from all our previous Immortal outings. We also now can get every single max elemental resistance for that tiny increase in defense that they provide at once, on top of your usual max defense boost, max divine blessing, max defense on the weapon for another layer of divine blessing. It's just all there, your recovery up and your recovery speed, which you need. It is just the Immortal package. However, you might notice that this is decorated awfully and inefficiently. Those one slot protection decorations and the medicine too are a real waste. And honestly, so is the hard elemental resist. You want the ones that work against the monster you're gonna go against, but apart from that, the extra 10 defense just isn't really worth it. So what can you do now? Why is this so good? Why the destroying of Fatalis to start off this video? Well, it gets very much better. Oh yes! So, thanks to the ridiculousness that is Fatalis slottage, and this is greatsword as well, so we're having to fit in focus. Other weapons, of course, you can replace that with whatever, but the point is here, we can reach 100% affinity, we can have our critical boost, and we can have an actually capable, competent offensive set, and while it's not maximum offensive, it's still a lot of damage, and it's normal playstyle, except you are completely immortal. You'll be seeing it in the background footage, Fatalis just cannot do anything. Even his biggest, most potent attacks kind of just get shrugged off, and then you don't need to heal at any point. Between your Palico, which should always be on Vigor Wasp for the immortality, and the health augment, you just don't have to stop attacking the monster for any reason, unless you choose to. You just consistently wail on him, he can't kill you, and job is a good un. This is a supremely reliable way to kill Fatalis because it's so supremely safe. And I think it is just glorious. We are at the point now where we can have an Immortal build that is about 98% as immortal as it is possible to get in the game, and that also contains the standard offensive skills package to make it a build that can kill things in quite reasonable times, sped up even more by the fact that you never have to worry about healing or being hit, because you just can't die. And I think that that is quite
impressive.
Thank you, Huntsman. Thank you. So there you go, guys. There is not really much else to say here, other than we've reached the top. We have reached the tippy top of AFK immortality, and then managed to infuse it with active killing the monster without having to have a care in the world. Let me know what you all think. Like if you've enjoyed this, subscribe for more, and I will see you soon. A goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video flow.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.